Welcome back to 6-Minute Math, where we turn confusion into clarity 6 minutes at a time. Thank you for joining us today, where we are going to talk about one of the ways to find the greatest common factor. 6 minutes goes by quickly, so here we go. Our key points when we are looking for the greatest common factor is firstly, we are going to find factors for both numbers. To do this, we are going to use a factor U. If you are unfamiliar with the factor U, please check out our video here at 6-Minute Math called What Are Factors, where you can learn that process. Once we have the factor U of both numbers, the largest shared factor between the two numbers is the greatest common factor. If I look at the example of 24 and 36, I have my two factor U's. There are my factors of 24. Here are my factors of 36. And I'm going to look for the greatest common one. In this case, I have a 12 and a 12, which would make my greatest common factor 12. So let's see some examples. We're going to find the greatest common factor between 40 and 64. So I'm going to write my factor U's for both of these numbers. 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, 5 and 8. And for 64, I have 1 and 64, 2 and 32, 4 and 16, and 8 and 8. I do a quick scan here of my factors and I find which ones have a common. I have an 8, I have two 8s with 64, but this would make my greatest common factor 8. How about another example here? We're going to look at 70 and 42. So I am going to create my factor U's. So I have 1 and 70, 2 and 35, 5 and 14, and 7 and 10. And for 42, I have 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, and 6 and 7. In this case, again, do my quick scan to find my greatest common one. My eyes land on 14, which would make the greatest common factor 14 between 70 and 42. Let's do a couple more examples. We're going to look here between 81 and 108. So again, we do my factor U, 3 and 27, 9 and 9. 408, I have 1 and 108, 2 and 54, 3 and 36, 4 and 27, 6 and 18, 9 and 12, and then I do my scan. For 81, I only have 6 factors. I have 12 for 108, but I find that I have a 9 and a 9 as my greatest common factor. Let's do our final example here. We're going to look for the greatest common factor between 112 and 96. So again, I do my factor U, 2 and 56, 4 and 28, 8 and 14, 9 is not a factor of 112, 10, 11, 12, or 13, so my factor U is complete. And for 96, I have 1 and 96, 2 and 48, 3 and 32, 4 and 24, 6 and 16, and 8 and 12. I do a quick scan all through my factors to find that 8 and 8 is my greatest common one, making my greatest common factor 8. Those are all the examples we have today for finding the greatest common factor using a factor U. Please follow us on Instagram and TikTok at 6 Minute Math, and be sure to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below for any topic you want to see me tackle in a future 6 Minute episode. Always remember that the best way to get math is to practice math, so keep on practicing, and until next time, keep solving and evolving.